This video was recorded in front of a live virtual audience. Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. Today we're going to be talking about how fashion brands trick you, or perhaps how you trick the fashion brands. I think it's a give and take. It's a vice and a versa and a vice. At the end of the day, luxury shopping is always a vice. But I want to thank Caleb, one of my fellow viewers and co-reviewers here on the channel. Thank you so much, Caleb, for contributing, because Caleb left a comment under one of my videos, the video specifically being Chanel price increase alert from a couple of weeks ago. And I will read Caleb's comment, and then we're going to get into the dissection of this whole concept. Before I read the comment, I would like to ask you, if you haven't already but like my content and my channel, to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And then you can also push the join button next to the subscription button and become a member today. If you become a member today, you get extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon, Super Dacob, all spelled together on Patreon. Over there, you also get extra perks. And thank you to my patrons and members who have already pledged. Without you, the Fashion Bunker would not be here. Also, thank you to my co-reviewers and co-chatters, the chat section, which is right next to me here. This video is being filmed live in front of a virtual studio audience, virtual bunker audience. So I have my co-reviewers here ready to also comment on this topic. So thank you guys so much. Let me read Caleb's comment on my Chanel price increase alert video. It was a video that I made literally to announce that Chanel is going to have yet another price increase. What a surprise. It's kind of happening on a monthly basis by now with their price increases. So Caleb says, I think it can be put honestly and simply by saying Chanel is not down for one of the types of customers that has been buying their bags over these many years. Based off seeing some types of people who carry their classic bags, this is the customer that is probably just going in and buying the classic bag, and they're never in the boutique ever again. And if they return, it's for a card holder or costume jewelry earrings. If they're going to have these customers, Chanel is probably thinking, why not just maximize profits? Now, I don't agree with this idea, but they are a business. And do we really expect anything less from the business side? I am especially not okay with this sentiment because you see or read all of the time of people saying they're treated so rudely when shopping. That is very disheartening and never been my own experience, but I've heard it an amount of times that I do believe it happens often enough, which is even one time too often. The air of the boutique should not be to be cold to these types of aspirational shoppers. A high jewelry and clothing client should be treated the same as the one-time classic flap shopper. Unfortunately, money talks too much. It's nice for the extras as a special client, but let's at least be consistent in respectable treatment, especially with those prices of bags. Sorry for the rambling. P.S. It always perturbs me when people say, oh, they'll just go buy Hermes. Yeah, sure. And also, Dacob, have you been into see pre-spring? I'd really love to discuss the ready-to-wear selections with you. I'll try to make it on the next stream you have. Well, you guys, Caleb is here with us in the stream, in the chat section. So thank you, Caleb, so much for this wonderful comment. I have to say, I was very fascinated in particular by the whole comment, really beautifully written. But the particular thing that triggered me really to think about making a video was the first part that says, I think it can be put honestly and simply by saying Chanel is not down for one of the types of customers that has been buying their bags over these many years. Based off seeing some types of people who carry their classic bags, this is the customer that is probably just going to that's just going in and buying the classic bag, and they're never in the boutique ever again. And if they return, it's for a card holder, and so on. You see, this is the point. I think it's Caleb raises a really interesting point here. A luxury brand like Chanel has really structured their boutiques by now. It's all about the bags, the leather accessories, and then also the costume jewelry. So what happens is you enter the boutique, and the first thing that you approach, before you can even get to the apparel, you have to cross through the bag selection and the costume jewelry selection, and then at the end of the boutiques or on some other floor, you get to see the apparel, because the best sellers are the bags. And, you know, the costume jewelry, the earrings with the crystal studs, the double C earrings, for example. So what happens here is, in a way, Chanel is to blame, but also the customer is to blame. The Chanel is playing into this by positioning their bags at the forefront of their boutiques, because they are their best sellers. So they're not in reality doing anything to promote the clothing, because they keep the clothing in the back, pushed more to the back. All these brands do that, by the way. You enter Gucci, it's the same. First comes the leather goods and accessories, and then the rest. Versace does the same. They all do it, really. So Dior does the same. So Louis Vuitton does the same. They really all do it. But at the same point, the other side of the token is the customer buying an accessory doesn't bond you to necessarily having a certain body type. So you don't need to buy a t-shirt in a size extra small, small, medium, large, extra large. You know, a bag goes with you. If you get chubbier or skinnier, you always can wear the same bag. So it's much more user-friendly. A. B. Clothes, garments, t-shirts, what have you, they use more up with time, and then you start, you know, sweating in them, washing them. They kind of consume more with time. A bag is something that you could maintain for a longer period of time. So investment-wise, it's definitely a product that you're going to have more use out of for the money. So there's like those kind of reasonings behind it. And also there are status symbols, these bags that represent the brand, and some of them have their logos on them as well. So this is something that, especially if you buy their timeless pieces, their classic carryover pieces that are produced every year, they're not necessarily connected to just one season. So if you buy the bag this season, it's going to be actual for the next 20 years. If you buy garments that are very season-based, you're going to wear them one season, they might break or what have you, you know. So there's a lot of these reasons why people are nowadays buying more the bags of these brands than actual clothing. But truth be told, the bags have come to a price point where they cost just as, if not even more, than quite particular, complex, and difficultly produced and made garments, which is the case with Chanel. Their classic bags now cost more than their clothing, and in some cases even their métiers d'art collections, where the jackets are just superbly produced and cost less than a timeless classic jumbo bag, for example. So now on one end, if most of the customers that come to Chanel are one-off customers, like Caleb says, that, you know, just go and buy one bag and then never return again, what is Chanel to do? They need return customers to keep sustainability of their company, to keep it moving, to keep it growing, to keep being able to produce good quality products. But if you have only a one-off customer coming in, you can't really split the costs across the board of your whole collection. Meaning, it's not like if you have a return customer that actually also buys apparel, that buys a bit of accessories, that buys a perfume, buys a bag, buys a shoe, that's more or less well distributed across the range. You have one person buying throughout the years that they keep coming back, a little bit of everything. But if you have a person that comes in and basically 80% of your clients just come in once to buy that one bag and, you know, c'est la vie and hasta la vista, baby, never to see you again, of course Chanel has to profit from that. Meaning, well, if I can't get this customer, okay, Dacob, if I can't get this customer to return again and buy also other products, not just bags, then I have to maximize my profits on the bag, because chances are this person will be coming in only to buy that one bag. So the bag has to cost more. The bag has to cover a part of the price that you pay for that bag, covers also the cost of the apparel that they do not sell, that they end up not selling. It has to balance out. So in a way, I know we are frustrated that every half a year there's another price increase, that the bags go up in price all the time. But at the same time, you have to understand, well, most people are not buying the apparel. But the apparel also needs to be produced. Those costs also have to be covered somehow. So a part of the price of that bag actually covers the costs of the jackets, of the pants, of the skirts, and what have you. You also have to understand that logic. It's not that simple. Of course, it's way more complicated because the brand still manages to turn a profit, and a hefty profit at that. So it's not like they're struggling to survive. They're still earning their billions, millions and billions. So they're still, all the top rate, the echelon, the top ranks within, the CEOs and all what have you at these luxury brands. They all get their bonuses at the end of the year. They're hefty hundreds of thousands of dollars or $1 million bonuses every year because they do so good. So they are turning profits and they are exponentially raising their prices of their bags. But still, despite those profits, they're still managing to shift what their losses are in the apparel range, for example, just to name an example. Those costs are covered in part also by the prices of the bags. So next time you're buying a Chanel bag, see it this way. Yes, of course, you're putting a lot of money into the pockets of the CEOs and the owners, but you're also a part of that bag, part of that price for that bag is being used to fund the clothes that you will not end up buying, that most people will not end up buying because they don't want to spend that money on the clothes. They prefer to spend it on a bag. And part of that money that you're going to spend on that bag is also going to go into the production of the next fashion show, of the next marketing campaign, of the next advertising campaign. So Chanel needs to put that money into those bags because those higher prices, Chanel needs to lift the prices of those bags for a reason so that they could justify the production cost of everything else. Does that make any sense? I hope it does, because there is a logic to it. Now, what would happen if all of a sudden we were to stop purchasing Chanel bags and we were just to start purchasing their clothes? That would be a huge shift. You would notice that pretty soon Chanel would invert not just Chanel, every luxury brand would invert their strategies. All of a sudden at the front of the stores, you would see the garments and the bags would be all the way at the end of the store because those would be selling less. And if people would stop buying bags altogether but would go crazy for their jackets and would be selling, and Chanel would all of a sudden start selling out of jackets, you best believe within half a year, the prices of the jackets would start jumping up, just like now the prices of the bags are jumping up. So you would have the jacket cost $6,000. The next year it will be costing $7,500, while the bag stays more or less in the same price range. So whatever starts selling most within these luxury brands is what the luxury brands hype in price. And it just so happens to be bags at the moment, but it could be anything else. If we observe on the other, and they can't tell me, yeah, but production costs are going up. They're not in certain cases because they are balancing out their losses. So certain products haven't gone up in price in almost a decade because they don't sell that well. So certain products, they maintain their prices at that entry level that they had already a couple of years ago because they're not selling that many. But to compensate that loss for not upping the price for that product, even though maybe the production of raw materials for that product has gone up in price, well, how do they pay for that price increase for them to produce it? They pay for it by raising the price of the bags over there because they know you're going to keep buying them even though they up the price 20% every year, every 2 years. And that's how you balance it, more or less. It's up to you to accept it or not. Of course, if you're crazy for the Chanel bags and for their bags, you're going to, keep buying them. But just be aware, you could have bought, 3 sweaters, gorgeous cardigan cashmere sweaters for the price of 1 bag. What is more worth it to you? So thank you for watching this video. Let me get to the chats and see and read your opinions. MK says, Caleb made a point again, but their apparel's price tags are just extortionate, and let's get real. They are not worth the money either. Only a handful of people can afford Chanel's garments. Candy Fluff says, Dacob has some smart fans. Wow. Yeah, Caleb is very smart, you guys. Candy Fluff says, love how topics go deeper on this channel. Great segment and great comment. Thank you so much, Candy Fluff. Brandon says, it's just maintaining notoriety. Rich Mitch says, what happens to unsold Chanel clothes? Oh my God, Rich Mitch, do you really want to know? This is going to hurt you. The unsold clothes for all luxury boutiques and also some lower end, actually regular fashion boutiques as well. So if after sales they don't get sold, they get shipped back to their warehouses and then distributed. There's certain centers that gather that stuff. They do staff sales where staff gets to purchase the garments at 70, 80, 90% off. Then some pieces also go on sample sales. Then they also do special invited VIP guests from, fashion magazines or influencers, or they call them also friends of the maison, of the house. They get invited to also, just like staff sales, they also get invited for sample sales to purchase stuff. And then what's left over after the obsolete, this kind of staff sale is called the obsolete. After the obsolete is over, the pieces that remain unsold, they get destroyed. And this is a practice that all of these brands do. This is not just Chanel. All of them do it. They destroy. They destroy whatever doesn't get sold. To maintain the collectability, the covetability of the brand and the image of the brand, they have to destroy. It costs them less to destroy than to maintain. Because for every day that you have a piece of clothing... Oh, thank you so much, Rada, for becoming a member. Thank you so much. Big heart to you. Double heart. Thank you. Where was I? For every day that you have clothing hanging in your store, it costs you money as well, because it's occupying space, and that other new pieces could be occupying instead. And if you're not selling it, for every day it hangs in your store unsold, it loses in value because you got to keep paying to sustain it, to the rent of the room, of the space, and what have you. So there's that to consider as well in the calculation. But so it is cheaper at the end of the day to destroy what does not get sold, and they destroy en masse. All of these brands, they burn it down, they destroy it, they squish it, they crush it, they cut it, they destroy it. Brendan says, yes, topics get very deep. Audrey says, they usually try and sell them in the sale first. Candy Fluff says, I'm guessing it is destroyed. Yeah, I don't think they divert. No, Richmond says, but what happens if they go fully unsold? They destroy them. Brandon says, I won't be buying it. I'm not crazy for anything. MK says, Dacob, just look at social media. The trend has been much more accessories oriented over the last 15 or 20 years. It wasn't the case before the mid-2000s, at least here in Paris. Candy Fluff says, paying for the product and the aura of the product being Chanel. MK says, in luxury boutiques, bag departments used to be much smaller. Candy Fluff says, social media. People wearing their flap bags with their latest H&M hauls. MK says, even at 70 and 90% off, staff can't afford Chanel's attires. Rich Mitch is shooketh. Brandon says, what a waste. Oh, it's a huge waste. I'm telling you, the fashion industry and the fashion business is not sustainable. Fashion is one of the biggest industries in the world in terms of how much money they garner and they earn every year, but they're also one of the most wasteful and polluting industries in the world. One of the most environmentally unfriendly and environmentally most polluting. One of the. Rara says, why would they destroy them? They would destroy them to maintain collectability and covetability of the brand. They don't want to oversaturate the market with their products. So if they don't sell it, they destroy it. Brandon says, when I worked at Ulta, they would destroy the perfume returns by the dumpster. Audrey says, I can understand why they destroy their items, especially with so many counterfeit products sold now. That's a whole other can of worms. Oh yes, Audrey, that's a whole other can of worms. Melanie says, what is wrong with these companies? It just makes me not want to support them. Sigh. Val says, that's so saddening. Johnny says, OMG. Amelia says, no sales on Chanel bags. Very rarely, only on some special seasonal pieces, sometimes. Very, very rarely though, mostly no sales. But the seasonal Chanel bags that do not get sold full price in the boutique within 2 years, after 2 years, they get sent also to staff sales. And then they go on sale at the staff sale, but they take off their authentication number. They peel it off and they take away their identity card when they end up in sales staff. Just another Roger says, I'm just tired dissecting the world of Chanel boutiques and their practices. That includes the workers. I'm going in if I want. See you after a decade. If I'm content. Yeah, but this is not just Chanel, dude. This is all the brands. All the brands. And I mentioned this at the beginning of this video. This is not just Chanel. This is all the luxury brands and also lower end brands as well. Richmond says, destroying their own creation sounds like some serious self-loathing. It's a little bit cultish behavior. Sunglasses do it too. Most brands do it. And the saddest part is not just fashion, you guys, also food, supermarkets. Rather than giving it to homeless people who need food, if something is expiring right before it expires, they destroy it. They destroy it. Now, in some countries, I know in Paris and France, there's a different regulation. They're not allowed to throw everything away. They got to give at least a certain percentage of food away. But in America, what is not sold, food-wise, is destroyed. They will destroy it rather than give it to a person in need. Food. Okay, so even more despicable than destroying clothing. Rara says, oh gosh, so if you want to be fashionable on a budget, become a staff member. Bingo. But then you're going to battle your way through other staff members. It's disgusting. You're going to have to be like tearing each other's hair apart. Who's going to get to the bag first? So they pull a Jeffree Star on the items bags, huh? He was just channeling what they all do anyway, in a way. Vel is laughing at Emilio's comment. Jack says, does Westwood do the destroying thing too? I've seen years old collections in their Bicester Village outlet shop. I don't think they do. I don't think they destroy. Melly says, oh, I hope Vivienne Westwood doesn't. I don't think Vivienne Westwood does. Caleb says, thanks for reading my comment, Dacob, and appreciate everyone else's thoughts. Gotta head out now and in appropriate fashion going to be in some Chanel dressed. Have a great rest of the weekend all. Thank you so much, Caleb, for your comment. Thank you so much for being here with us in the chat. I would think Westwood is against it, says Candy Fluff, destroying the pieces. Jack says, Vivienne herself might be against it, but who knows if she can control that. That's a good point, Jack. Melly says, oh, that is sick. Candy Fluff says, yep, food too. They destroy everything. Richmond says, yeah, the destruction of food is outrageous. It's terrible. Candy Fluff says, why people dumpster dive? Rara says, yes, I hate that. Some switched it up during the pandemic. Blips. Messed up, says Melly. Jam says, Dacob, does Westwood still design? Yes, she does. Brendan says, that's great to hear about Paris. MK says, no, we put water on food to make sure the needy wouldn't eat it. Oh my God. Okay, but that's just sick. Amina says, child, let's find the Chanel containers. Dumpster diving with my homegirls. Candy fly. There's no containers. They actually have police standing in front of these special rooms where they destroy everything and everything has to be controlled. There's a list of everything that enters the room. Nothing leaves the room. Everything has to be destroyed. It's not just like thrown out. It's controlled by security. Candy Fluff says, capitalism will eat itself. Yes, but capitalism will eat itself only after it has eaten all of us first. Kira says, that's appalling. People throw food away. Brendan says, I've seen rich old people dumpster diving, LOL. David says, to Caleb, thank you so much. Thank you, Caleb. Jack says, I have to take out my trash. We'll be back soon. Jack is going dumpster diving. Jason says, do they burn the products? Some they burn, some they crush, depending what materials they're made out of. Yeah, just another Roger says, it depends on a state. Wasted food in America gets weighed and at the end of the year gets a tax break. Big companies like hotels, we encourage wasting food. It's awful. Oh my God, that's terrible. Candy Fluff says, Starbucks will sometimes give unsold food to homeless people if they ask, if and only sometimes. Brendan says, we will eat the rich. Let us eat cake. Haha, says Brendan. Well, that's a wonderful way to end this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I mean, it's analytical. It's diving into deeper thoughts and processes of consumer society. And I think it's really important to analyze this, to understand it as a consumer, to understand a little bit more about the dynamics, what's behind production and consumption and overconsumption and overproduction and oversaturation of the market, and how these brands try to avoid oversaturation of the market whilst maintaining their image and brand value on the market. It's all about perception, it's all about brand marketing, it's all about manipulation, and it's all about brain farts at the end of the day. If you haven't already, but like my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. You can also push the join button next to the subscription button and become a member today and gain extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon, Super Dacob, all spelled together. Become a patron today. Thank you to my members and patrons who are actually scrolling here on the sidebar. You can see all my wonderful co-producers of the show. These are my members and patrons and the super chatters who are helping sustain the Fashion Bunker. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. You are in the roll credits at the end of every video now. Look how cute everybody's rolling through in these gorgeous, relaxing purple hues. Thank you guys so much. You can be listed here too by joining today. Become a member or patron, and your name will be listed in the videos as well. Thank you to all my co-chatters that have been alive or co-reviewing and talking with me about this topic today. You can also join me on my Instagram, Super Dacob, all spelled together, Facebook and Twitter. You can follow me there. You can also follow me on my Chanel dedicated Instagram profiles. One is called Coco Chanel is in my house, dedicated to my Chanel collection and everything that the Chanel brand is up to these days. You can also follow me on my Coco Chanel Privé, all spelled together, Instagram profile, where I talk about Coco Chanel's life, everything that is connected to when she was alive, working and kicking. Just be more thoughtful next time you purchase something, next time you're in a shop and you're thinking, okay, what am I going to do now? No, I love this. I saw it on Instagram. My favorite influencer is wearing it. That star or starlet is wearing this. I want it too. Chances are you're not going to want it after 1 week has passed and something more fashionable and fancy is going to hit the market. Think twice before you fall into the need of purchasing something because of a trend or a craze. And try to think a little bit more in terms of how long are you going to use it. I always say fashion is not sustainable, never will be. But style is sustainable. If you buy something stylish that suits your style, you're going to wear it your whole life or until it breaks. That's as sustainable as it gets because you have that one piece you love and you don't keep buying new pieces that keep breaking after 2 days because they're poorly produced. You stick to your style. That can be sustainable because you keep wearing that piece that you love so much. That's as close as we get to sustainability within fashion. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, never forget to never give up on love. Love you all. See you soon. Take care. Bye.